So imagine this. It's a regular season home game for the Knicks. Derrick Rose is bringing the ball up the court on a fast break. And he has two super athletic teammates in the open court to choose from. Now his options are Obi Toppin and Zach LaVine. So yeah, clearly, no matter who he lobs it to, Madison Square Garden will erupt regardless. It'd be amazing. And I know you may be thinking, what type of imagination is this? LaVine plays for the Bulls, not the Knicks. And it's probably gonna stay that way. And sure, while that may be true, the Knicks might as well have Zach LaVine if they are able to draft the man I'm talking about today in James Bouknight, a 6'5" shooting guard from UConn that just so happens to be a New York native and is also an obvious lottery talent. But he has a good chance of falling just outside the top 10, and that's exactly where I believe the Knicks should pick him up in the draft. And I know it won't be easy because the Knicks are fresh off a successful and overachieving season for the first time in a while, so they kind of have a late first round pick. But I've already seen articles claiming the Knicks plan to move up in the draft through trades anyways, so yeah, if they're successful in doing that, they should draft Bouknight for a number of reasons I'll go over today. But real quick before I move on, what's up YouTube, Plug Speaks back with a vid. If you're new, first of all, welcome, go ahead and sub, also like the vid if you enjoy. I drop bangers 3 to 4 times a week, and we are currently grinding for 5k, so I'd for sure appreciate it. But back to the vid though. Now before I go ahead and ramble about Bouknight playing for New York, I'll give a short rundown on his value and just what he brings to the table. And to put it simply, if I was limited to just 2 words to describe him as a prospect, it would be buckets and hops. Because James Bouknight's draft stock is well supported by his combination of skill and talent offensively. See, Bouknight is simply one of the better scorers in the draft, and when it comes to strictly finishing around the basket, you would struggle to find 5 players in this draft better than him. I mean, I didn't bring up Zach LaVine just for fun, because Bouknight is just super athletic and has a wide range of abilities in his bag to choose from. Whether it be hanging in the air, just hang time, contorting his body to avoid getting blocked, jumping high, super high into the air, or even less athletic things like accurate touch around the rim. He really has it all. And then as far as shooting, his jumper is pretty streaky, but he's not completely unreliable. And he's definitely a much better shooter than what his 3-point percentage of 29% claims he is. I mean, they say numbers don't lie, but hey man, at some point they do. Also, he was one of the only lottery prospects besides Cade to drop at least 40 points. And yeah, overall, in a decent sample size of 15 games, he averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 45% shooting from the field and 29% from 3. Pretty solid numbers. And I could really go on, but I'm not about to turn this into a whole player breakdown. So yeah, on to the reasons he'd fit in a Knicks uniform. Now for one, if you're unaware, this past regular season, the Knicks had one of the best defenses in the entire NBA, like within the top 3. However, on the other hand, their offense wasn't even top 10. And from the starting lineup to the bench especially, they just didn't have many offensive talents. Immanuel Quickley and Alec Burks were pretty much their only reliable bench pieces. By the way, I don't count Derrick Rose as a bench piece because we all know he should have been starting since the moment he was traded. But yeah, just looking at their lack of offense, a young scorer like James Bouknight would be perfect. Like I said, he's one of the best scorers in the draft, and I believe he'd be reliable in this role. For example, even when his shot isn't falling, he finds other methods to thrive at what he's best at. For example, this year Bouknight had a game where he made just 4 shots. Mind you, only one of them was from 3. And yet he still finished the game with a total of 16 points, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, and it isn't, but y'all, he only made 4 shots, but he was able to finish with 16 points because he's aggressive enough to where he draws enough contact for free throws. So yeah, considering he only made 4 shots, that's pretty good, and like I say, he could be a valuable scorer off the bench and maybe even as a starter depending on how well he performs. Not to mention, his buckets come in very entertaining fashion. Let's not sell him short. And I know you don't get more points for doing a reverse dunk instead of a layup, but which would you rather watch as a fan? And that's my point exactly. So yeah, I mean, as we all know, Madison Square Garden demands primetime entertainment. It's one of the ultimate stages in the world of basketball as far as arenas. So many NBA legends have won in there and had signature performances, whether it be when Steph went off for 54 or when Kobe dropped 61. Madison Square Garden is just a perfect stage for primetime entertainment, and I believe quality entertainment is definitely something Bouknight brings to the table. It's that simple. But on to another reason this could work. Now, as we all saw this past season, the Knicks are trending towards competing and really being a respectable team in playoff conversations, but they're still fairly young, and building on young talent could pay dividends in the long run rather than grabbing aging stars or super expensive free agents, especially since a lot of superstars are locked in maximum deals right now. So unless if they were able to pull off a huge trade, the Knicks shouldn't focus on or waste any money on borderline all-stars. Just trust the young talent. For instance, this past season, Emmanuel quickly surprised mostly everyone with his play, and I assume he'll get better. So if they were to draft Bouknight, it would be another great addition to a collection of young talent, and overall, it would contribute to the longevity of their relevance as a playoff team. Just think about it, teams like the Celtics are currently on playoff streaks of 5+ years, all because their core pieces were fairly young a couple years back and are still young. Think about Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. So yeah, that age factor should not be overlooked. But moving on to this last main reason why he would fit with the Knicks, Bouknight is from the Bronx. He's a hometown player, and I understand it may sound corny and that it doesn't really mean much, but just me personally, I believe it provides extra motivation to ball out. I mean, we've seen some examples where guys are drafted to their childhood team and go crazy, the most notable ones in recent history being D Rose in Chicago or LeBron in Cleveland. And I know they're actually fresh off drafting a hometown player in Obi Toppin, and his rookie year was not amazing, but you gotta give it time. These rookies didn't even have a summer league or a real training camp. Plus, Bouknight is just a better prospect in my opinion anyway. So yeah, if he could land right where he basically grew up, that's perfect. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Obviously, he'll be motivated regardless of where he lands, but based on the reasons I've laid out, the Knicks could definitely use his services and should do what it takes to draft him, unless moving up requires something drastic. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you're a Knicks fan, let me know what you think of this, and even if you're not, comment what you think of what team you'd prefer Bouknight to land on. And that's it for me. I appreciate y'all watching as always. Like the sub, share it, sub if new, all of that, and I'm out.